From New York, it's That Kevin Show.
See, I knew it.
Come on, Kev. What's a few classified documents between friends?
I told you all the time. I knew it. I knew he had some too.
Here he is, That Kevin McCullough.
Welcome back. It's That Kevin Show from Times Square. Kevin McCullough, very glad to have you with us as we are digging into these, less than 40 days until the election. Some voting has already started to take place. And friends, that is why I'm going to talk about the election every minute between now and November 5th. You have maybe the most historic, maybe the most significant, maybe the most important choice to make that we've ever made as a country, maybe since George Washington and the founders. Like, we're talking about a radically different view of the world depending on who you vote for going forward. And to that end, I am glad to welcome back Caitlin Sinclair, who is the official spokeswoman for Turning Point Action. That's that great organization that Charlie Kirk founded, and this is the C4 portion of that organization, out there talking about issues and asking you to go vote. Some of you have already started in a couple of states, and I'm going to talk about the election between now and November 5th every day, because it is the most important election that we face. But Caitlin Sinclair, welcome. It's good to have you.
Good to be here.
There's a lot to be decided in this election. And this week, 158 Democrats voted against a bill that would deport illegal immigrants who commit sex crimes against American citizens. Now, I want those watching at home and listening by way of radio, 300 radio stations and 2 television networks, I want all of you to let the words of that sink in. 158 Democrats voted against a bill to deport illegal immigrants who commit sex crimes against Americans. Caitlin Sinclair, is this in step with what Turning Point USA and its action arm are finding on the campaign trail when you are out and about on college campuses talking to voters day in and day out?
Absolutely, Kevin. So this is the same party that tells you that they are for women, right? That they're fighting on behalf of women. This is an election on gender and saving females' reproductive rights. Meanwhile, this is a party that does not care about women. They can't define what a woman is. They don't care about our reproductive rights. In fact, they actually encourage women to work 9-to-5 jobs, to not want families, to not start a family, to not even get married, to not even pursue relationships anymore. They praise people like Chelsea Handler, who wakes up at noon and has nothing to celebrate or nothing to do and no one to take care of. And look at Laken Riley, look at Molly Tibbetts, look at the women that have been raped and murdered by the policies of the left, the same people, again, that claim to want to protect women. And now look at this bill that you're talking about, Kevin. This is exactly what we see on college campuses. And the sad part is, and I could say this as a female, the other females, the girls out there, they're falling for it. So wake up, girls, because what reproductive rights do you really have with this party? Nothing. This is not an election where we can vote based on gender or a single issue, which of course is the issue of abortion that they are shoving down our throats. The Democrats are very calculated. They took the most wedge-dividing issue in this country and made this an election about gender. And the women out there need to understand that this is a party that does not care about them, because nothing screams more like I protect women when you're letting illegals that are unvetted into this country to rape and kill us. So the women in this country really need to wake up, and I really hope they're doing their research.
Well, I started the show off tonight with a little bit of video from Kamala Harris. And Ivan, if you can put that back on the screen, this is her at an actual demonstration this week where migrants and supporters of migrants, illegal migrants, are chanting down with deportation and up with education. And the sitting vice president of the United States, as we can see on the screen, is chanting with these people, down with deportation, up with education. She's chanting down with deportation with illegal migrants that are chanting this, knowing that President Trump's proposed policy begins with deporting criminal aliens that rape, maim, and murder Americans. She's added it to her campaign speech, talking about the perils and the evils of deportation. I don't know what most Americans, I don't pretend to speak for most Americans, but my sense is, at least of the ones that listen and watch me and the ones that read my column at Town Hall, my sense is that these people don't view deportation of criminal murderers and rapists and terrorists as a dangerous thing for the future of Americans. Caitlin Sinclair, am I wrong?
You're absolutely correct. And again, this should speak to the larger sentiment here, which is right now in this country, women, and especially in these major blue cities, which I live in, Manhattan, are scared to step outside. They're scared to send their children to school. And why is that? It's because of this mass migrant immigration, illegal immigration problem where nobody feels safe. And every single day, the mainstream media won't tell you these stories. They won't highlight all of these headlines of women being raped and murdered and kids feeling afraid to walk the streets and all of this. Of course, these policies have an effect. Of course, this is affecting the greater good of our country, the infrastructure of our country, our values, our principles. It's affecting everything, but this is all by design. It's all by design. And I think the American people are waking up and they're not falling for it anymore. Look at what happened with Martha's Vineyard, right? You send these people to Martha's Vineyard, you send these people to the Obama's doorstep, and oh, they don't want that. So I think that speaks volumes. And again, I don't think the American people are falling for this anymore.
Yeah. There is a news story, and Ivan, if we have this graphic, put this up, but 75% of the arrests right now, speaking of your city and mine here in New York, 75% of the arrests taking place in Midtown, in the heart of the most important city of the most important country on planet Earth. In the heart of this city, 75% of the arrests are being made against illegal migrants that are here illegally. And the reason they're being arrested is because they're the ones committing the crime. This is something that Kamala Harris won't acknowledge. This is something that people in Congress will not acknowledge. And yet, again, talk about the disconnect. She's chanting down with deportation when exactly the opposite is what the American people are asking for. Please take these dangerous, murderous criminals out of our midst and send them home. And that is the emphasis of what President Trump has talked about. He hasn't talked about, doing house-to-house sweeps and all kinds of stuff that Kamala Harris is trying to scare people into thinking. He's talking about low-hanging fruit. If someone commits a dangerous crime in this country, that's a one-way ticket back to where they came from.
You know, I recently just saw a story also. I think you and your viewers will remember a few months ago when women in Manhattan were going viral for posting about men punching them in the face randomly, which of course was horrible. Now, one of those same females that went viral for those videos is encouraging people to go to Kamala Harris's website and get out the vote. Really funny to me as a female talking to my contemporaries in New York. Are these women not correlating what they're voting for to then getting punched in the face? Like, is there no correlation between the policies here? Because I hate to laugh about something that's pretty tragic. Getting punched in the face as a girl is not fun when you're just walking the streets innocently in New York. But you're voting for it, girls. You're voting for it. So that same girl that went viral on TikTok for complaining about getting punched in the face is now telling people to go vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about, right? It's a larger sentiment here. This is a microcosm of what's happening. Women are not doing their research. It's really up to the men and the fraternity brothers, Kevin, that are trying to save this country here.
Her name is Caitlin Sinclair. You can follow her on X at Caitlin Sinclair TV.
Stick around for more of That Kevin. Next, That Kevin Show with Kevin McCullough.